What's up, guys? It's Jeff Morton from MortonTrainingSystems.com, and today we're going to be talking about the lat pull-down. And as the name implies, this exercise is meant to work your lats, or the muscles right here. So on really jacked people, you'll see that their back kind of goes onto a V shape. Now, the majority of that muscle mass is from a muscle group called the lats. So that is what this exercise is meant to work. However, I find that a lot of people don't actually feel their lats contracting. I myself have struggled a lot feeling that muscle work on pull-ups, lat pull-downs, rows for a while. So this subject very near and dear to my heart, because getting people to actually feel this exercise where they're supposed to is going to make this exercise much more effective and targeting the muscle you want to work. Now, I typically see this exercise done on kind of sitting on a little bench with the pads over your knees. Now, I'm doing on this machine, I'm going to be doing it sitting on the ground. One, because the lighting by the other machine sucks, but also because I find that it's a lot easier to feel your lats firing off during this version of the exercise. So first I'm going to show you what the exercise looks like, then maybe a little bit of detail, and then I'm going to talk about some common mistakes. Okay, so tip number one, go light. Your ego at the door. Typically when you go too heavy, what's going to happen is that your biceps are going to get overactivated, your forearms are probably going to get tired before you actually figure out how to light up that back musculature. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, think of, rather than thinking of pulling the weight down to your chin, imagine that your hands are just hooks. Like you kind of want to think like your arms are spaghetti. They're just kind of loose, and then you're actually pulling your elbow down rather than thinking of using your arms to pull the weight down. Now that automatically is going to get a lot of people feeling some muscles working their back that they didn't know existed. So that's tip number two. Tip number three is to not pull the weight down so far. So pull the weight down just until you get a good contraction, a good squeeze in your lats here, and no farther. And this is going to vary from person to person. So if I feel my lats work here, now imagine that my forearms were freakishly long and they were double the size. And if I pulled my forearm down with that, or my elbow down with that massive forearm, I have to pull it really far to get the bar under my chin. So, and that wouldn't be optimal, that wouldn't be ideal mechanics. So what I'm getting at is that your build, the length of your arms, your limb ratios are going to play a big part in how far you're going to pull the bar down. So rather than worrying about where the bar goes, worry about where you feel your muscle working. Now that brings us into common mistakes. The most common mistake I see, other than people putting way too much on the bar and just kind of flinging the weight down, is that they'll pull the bar down way too far. So they'll do this. So I'll do a good rep really quick just so you have something to compare it to. So a good rep for me stops about right here, whereas people will keep going until it almost turns into like a tricep push down. So right here, my upper back isn't doing anything. So they'll kind of pull it as far down as they can. And it's not necessary, you're not getting anything more out of the exercise by doing that. Next mistake I see, and there is a way to use a little body English to get more tension on the lats in this exercise, but typically what I'll see people doing is they'll kind of fling their weight back a lot, which if you notice at the bottom, kind of turns this more into a horizontal row than a lat pull down. But you also, you lose tension in the muscle unless you're very experienced in this exercise. On the machine where you're locked in, where the pads are on your legs, your hip flexors end up getting way more work than your back does. You can use those to extend your hips through your back backwards and lift more weight. Whereas here, it really forces you to really isolate the muscles that you're trying to target with this exercise. So just to recap, keep the weight light, visualize your hands as hooks, pulling with your elbow, and as you're doing that, you want to try and really drive your shoulders down and just contract those lat muscles as hard as you can, and also giving a little bit more of an arch at the end of the move is going to also help fire those muscles off. And pull down as far as you need to get the strongest contraction on these muscles as you can, rather than picking some arbitrary kind of joint on your body, like, okay, I need to pull the bar down my collarbone, or I need to pull the bar down to wherever. So think about, in this exercise, think about where your muscles fire off most, where you can feel that contraction most rather than how far you're actually pulling the bar down. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions or comments, just drop in the box below.